5 reasons why the Wii U is losing against the PS4 and the Xbox One in 2014. This is the review space, and welcome to a late 2014 Wii U update. And today in this video we talk about why the Wii U is losing currently against the PS4 and Xbox One. This doesn't necessarily mean that I do not like the Wii U. As a matter of fact, I do personally prefer it over the PS4 and the Xbox One at the moment in terms of library. But these are the reasons why it is currently losing against the PS4 and Xbox One, specifically in sales. The PS4 is at 14.4 million, Xbox One is 7.6 million, and the Wii U is at 7.4 million as of November 15, 2014, according to VGCharts.com. So reason number 1. Lack of multi-platform games from AAA publishers. Well, the Wii U doesn't have games such as GTA 5, Assassin's Creed Unity, WWE 2K15, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, Destiny, and even games like Watch Dogs took months to release for the Wii U, while it was already out and old news for the other companies and systems. While most of these games were critical disappointments, and the Wii U itself fared stronger in terms of ratings, games like Bayonetta 2 and Smash Bros for the Wii U, these games actually got higher scores. The strength of third-party games themselves should never be underestimated, because many fans, most fans and gamers, are still to this day suckers for these huge AAA multiplats, especially with all the hype and the marketing, which is why a lot of gamers, like it or not, tend to buy a lot of these multi-platform games, these multi-plats, games like the CODs, games like Destiny, games like Watch Dogs. They want to buy that. If the Wii U itself had access to these other titles, I mean, how many gamers would actually feel like the Wii U, it does have a future? It is worth buying, because in the future, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, it will still be getting the same kind of games that the PS4 and Xbox One will be getting in terms of the multi-plat in the 5, 6 years down the road, and can still compete with them, and you can still have it available on the Wii U. So gamers like the idea of having these games potentially on the Wii U as well, and they don't have that. The problem is that the Wii U itself, it doesn't even have a shot of playing something like a GTA 5 or a COD Advanced Warfare, and that's what turns off most consumers that would potentially be a Wii U owner. Number 2. Negative perception. Yes, well, the original Wii, the first Wii, left a really bad sour taste in many gamers' mouths after they realized the Wii is not really a hardcore system. It's not for hardcore gamers that want to play actual games. Instead, the Wii turned out to be a casual haven for kiddified titles, party games, so these collection games and these little mini-game type of basically shovelware. There's nothing wrong with Mario games or Zelda, but these titles only appeal for predominantly a younger demographic, and not necessarily the HD fan base that was predominant in the late 2000s in terms of, again, going back to the multiplats and games of the PS3 and the 360 demographic. Even though the Wii U does have HD now, many people still feel like it's really not worth buying, because they've moved on to the mature consoles with more variety, with more potential, whether it's the Sony or the Microsoft systems, and even the PC. Number 3. Last-gen hardware. Now, the Wii U can easily compete with the PS3 and the Xbox 360. It's obvious that it's a lot less powerful than the PS4 or the Xbox One. And this horrible practice of using dated technology, basically outdated specs by Nintendo, Nintendo keeps doing this, and it's basically been their major downfall, major criticism in terms of getting these AAA multi-plats and being able to keep up with the 8th gen to begin with, in terms of even just not even having multi-plats, but having actual games that could feature incredible visuals and graphics and capabilities that would at least be on par with the PS4 and the Xbone. And I mean, look, graphics aren't everything, sure, but it is also unappealing to spend all that money and buy all these consoles and spend a lot of time buying up a lot of resources on these games, when this system is basically using technology from the better part of 10 years ago. You know, technology that's been available since, what, 06, 05 on the last gen consoles. It just feels like you're buying something that's outdated. You know, you're instead of buying something that feels fresh and new, that could last for the next 6 years in terms of its potential of having amazing looking games. Graphics are so amazing, the capabilities are amazing, the frame rate is on point. It just feels like stuck in the last gen. Number 4. Horrible 2013, aka first year after launch. Last year was terrible for the Wii U, considering it was their first calendar run as a current gen system, as part of the 8th generation of gaming. This is a lack of must-have games at the time, you know, in 2013. Last year, this basically resulted in huge decline of sales for the Wii U, and it just kept dipping and just continued to fall by late 2013. And even Nintendo themselves cut the sales expectations, so they actually lowered their sales predictions. I believe it went down from 38 million, and it went down to 19 million in early 2014 in terms of projected sales. The Wii U owners themselves, so the people that actually bought a Wii U, and some of these guys actually made videos on YouTube airing their grievances and their problems last year in terms of the Wii U. They feel like they bought a useless system that collected dust for months. And aside from a few games here and there, games like Wonderful 101, Wii U's 2013 run was just abysmal. It was very lackluster compared to Sony or Microsoft. Number 5. Lack of new IPs. Aside from games like Devil's Third, most current and upcoming Wii U titles are old games, old sequels, rehashes of past franchises, and a lot of them are just newer installments of already established long-running series. Games like Smash Bros, Mario Kart, Zelda, Donkey Kong, Mario. These are all too familiar. We know what to expect, and they basically maintain a predictable nature, so people can understand, oh, okay, yeah, I know all about Mario, I know all about Donkey Kong. Pretty sure it's gonna be a platforming type of experience with Donkey Kong. Or with Zelda, it's gonna be some kind of, you're using a sword, it's kind of like an action adventure with hack and slash features, all these different weapons, and there's a story about, possibly saving the princess, having something to do with Princess Zelda herself. With Smash Bros, again, unless you've never played a Smash Bros game in the past, 15 years the series has been out, then it might be new to you then, but it's so familiar. If you play it on the GameCube, even on the N64, the original one, they maintain this very familiar gameplay, this familiar feeling. It's not exactly new IPs, basically. On the other hand, gamers today, They basically want fresh new ideas, new IPs, new intellectual properties, new exclusives, games. For example, on the Xbox One, they have games like Titanfall, Sunset Overdrive. These are new faces, exciting. Even the PS4 has games like The Order 1886, Bloodborne. These are upcoming games in 2015 on the PS4 that look interesting, and they are new. So gamers basically want exciting new fresh faces, new worlds to explore, something just a little bit different, not the same old cliche, breaking out of the formulaic that Nintendo has been focusing on for many years. I mean, if you take a look at the past, the most successful and most influential systems of the past, going back to the 90s, they basically had very interesting new IPs, new games, new franchises that they featured on those systems that were very successful. It made them stand out. So the PS1, for example, in the mid-90s, the PS1 had games like Crash Bandicoot, Tekken, Resident Evil, Tomb Raider, back when they were new in the mid-90s. The N64 had unique games too. Back in the day, they had WCW Revenge, great pro wrestling game. Perfect Dark, really unique first-person shooter. Conker's Bad Fur Day, one of the best action-style platforming type of games. You take a look at the original Xbox that came out in the early 2000s. It had games like Halo, of course, Fable, and Half-Life 2. Very good, excellent games that you can't really find on the other systems at the time. And then you take a look at the Wii U. Let's look at the Wii U in terms of what does it have that sets it apart from everything else, aside from possibly Devil's Third. Overall, the Wii U is still the best system in terms of sheer quality and critical scores in terms of its games. It is the best of 2014, there's no doubt about it, but it is selling the least because of these 5 reasons. And if the Wii U wants to turn around, if Nintendo wants the Wii U to turn around and sell even more, it's basically gotta fix and remedy these 5 reasons. Basically have new IPs, get multiplats, release a system that is actually stronger. So you might even want to just get rid of the Wii U and release an actual, current gen system. Thanks for watching The Review Space, the most underrated channel on YouTube. For more videos, check out youtube.com/The Review Space.